One more time we go back into the meditation. We have a little guided meditation for half an hour at the end of the day. No need to worry, this last meditation won't be too long, so if you've been sitting a lot and there might be pain in your body, don't worry. And you can always move if you need to. Always remember that this practice is not just for yourself, it's for even for the people around you. It's not your practice. You don't own this. The bigger the self is, the more you suffer. That's why we don't call it my practice. We're just sitting here. So just feel the body sitting. It's just the body, it's not yours. It doesn't belong to you. The body is just sitting. Allow the body to find its own natural posture, natural way of sitting. There's no one way of sitting or practicing. Imagine you are sitting in the passenger seat of a car. Or maybe it's a bus, because there's so many of us. You're just watching the scenery for a while. Allow the mind to watch the scenery wherever it wants to wander. That is like the scenery outside of the bus window. So allow the mind just to look at the scenery for a while, wherever it wants to go. Even if you're sitting on a seat and he wants to look at the breath, that's good. If he wants to feel the body while sitting there, that's good. Or it goes out in the world, just looking through the window, that's fine. We are here on a holiday, together, taking a break from the world, moving along in the world. There's nothing you have to do, you're on a holiday. nothing to do, nowhere to go. And on a holiday, it's nice to go somewhere quiet, like the beach. Imagine you're sitting on a beach side, coming off the bus, and then going to the beach and finding a quiet place for yourself. You're surrounded still by others, but it doesn't bother you. Above us, looking down on us, is this kind sun. It's shining down with the kindness towards our face. And you smile back at the sun. It's just so nice to just be sitting here on your own spot quietly. Nothing to do, nowhere to go for a while. You feel the contentment in your body. The body's just breathing here, sitting by yourself on this remote beach. The others are still there, but you don't worry about anything outside of your own space. Just allow the body to melt in its own place. Allow the body to breathe. The body's breathing, not you. You don't own this body. to bring a little bit more happiness and kindness towards your mind. Imagine again the beautiful sun of compassion shining down on your face. The sun has a beautiful smile and is looking down on you. And you smile back at the sun of compassion. You're sitting in your own spot and just smiling towards the compassion. You start feeling like you're in this own bubble. The others are there, but it doesn't matter so much because you have this own little space. You're in your own bubble and you're just smiling towards the compassionate sun. The body's breathing by itself. That it's just a gentle movement with the breath, but it almost feels like the wind is moving your body back and forth. Gently you observe the breath like the wind. It's like the wind, this breath doesn't belong to you. Allow the movement to be there. Slowly the body starts settling down even more. The breath doesn't move the body so much. It's almost like you're looking at the breath like there are waves on the ocean. This movement. But it's almost like it's not in your body. Just keep observing the breath going in and out like it's a wave on the ocean, crashing in and then going out back. Just a movement of breath. There's small waves coming in and short waves. Sometimes the wave almost seems to stop and it starts again. There's always movement in the ocean. The longer you watch this movement, the more intricate and interesting it becomes. Just keep watching the movement. Just smile towards that movement a little bit. And it becomes more spacious. Observe the movement with spacious kindness. We're getting close to the end of the meditation. Just observe that movement with that smile you have. The more kindness you give to that movement, the more pleasurable it becomes. And bring your attention back to your body. Can you feel the body is more relaxed than it was? Perhaps yesterday or today, at some point. Can you feel, if you allow the body to breathe, how it feels healthy? It's almost like it's healing itself. Same with your mind. You feel your mind, does it feel like it's healthier when it's calm? Do you notice how pleasurable it is to be in quiet space for a while? How this quietness just pulls you in. I will now ring the bell 3 times, and that's the end of the meditation. Very good. Okay, so it's yeah, I think that's enough light. Okay. I feel like a Dracula coming out of the coffin. I wonder if there's any questions. I almost don't want to do the Q&A. But I guess we have to do it, or should do it. Hopefully there's not much questions, so we can just keep sitting here. Is it heavy? Oh, terrible. Wow, so many questions. Okay, I'm just going to race through them. Yes. Oh no. Why do you have so many questions in your mind? All right. Well, that's the daily entertainment. So let's go through this, and then hopefully you can keep sitting for a little bit. Is it normal to feel like breath is chaotic in the beginning and following by feeling like you are floating on clouds and then like nothing? Is it normal? No. I like these questions people always ask us. Am I normal? Is this normal? If that's normal, there's nothing which is not normal. Everything is normal. Yes, so the breath, it can be chaotic in the beginning, could be chaotic in the end, in the middle, it could be chaotic anywhere, and the floating could happen. But definitely the floating, you start going into the floatingness more towards the end, of course, because the mind starts coming down, and then it appears like you are floating, and then quite often it can disappear. it gets really, really shallow, and then it disappears, and then it comes back, and then you start thinking about things again, and it just happens. That's how it is. But yes, it's absolutely normal. But it's quite pleasurable. So don't think it's nothing. Even those spaces of floating on clouds. Is when it's pleasurable, enjoy it. It's make more of it. What do we think why do we think the worst of others, and how can we stop that? I need to stop the instinct beast. Okay, to think worst of others. Well, we had the group discussion today, and one of the things I just said, I mentioned in both of the discussion groups that I just recently read this Russian author, a quote from him, Solzhenitsyn. He said that the line of good and evil runs in every heart, and you cannot think that you can somehow separate good and evil, good and evil people from the society or from the world, as if we can just take these are the evil people, and we draw the line in here, and then it's like these are the evil people, and we put them aside and we lock them away, and now the society is good because we only have good people left, right? That's how it works. No, it doesn't. The line of good and evil runs through every heart, he says, and it's true. So always think that it's like you're not just there's no us and them. You're the same way. You're like everybody else. So you need to just keep looking inside of you, and from there you start understanding others. When you understand yourself, you understand the mind of others. And so really to stop that is just to develop this compassion towards yourself, and then from there you start seeing, let's go back. To start looking inside of yourself, you start seeing what kind of suffering you have, and you start developing the compassion towards yourself. And from there, the compassion towards the world, to others, starts coming. If you don't see the suffering in you, you're like, I'm fine, I'm normal, everybody else is weird. It's not a very compassionate thing to do. So you start seeing, don't push away your own weirdness, your own feeling of being lonely, not good enough, or any of those things. Start seeing them, recognize them, and from there, compassion starts arising. Well, there's suffering, I can recognize that, okay. Then you start understanding everybody else is having the same things, and then the instinct sort of stops. It has to start from yourself. If you don't understand yourself, you don't understand others. That's the way to stop this knee-jerk reaction of judging others, looking down on them. It really is. That's what people think they have compassion, but quite often it's a wrong feeling. It's not. It's actually compassion. It's like you. It really is that you have to be in the same level with others. You cannot be compassionate from above, so to speak. You cannot just like, oh, poor person. I was like, you have so much pity towards them. Pity and compassion is a different thing. There's a different beast. You need to be on the same level. We're doing this together. It's not us and them, you and those others. So then but it really starts from yourself. Again, don't think it's somehow difficult. Look inside of yourself. Be honest about it. You start seeing the suffering. You realize, everybody else is the same like I am. Is there a distinction between desire and motivation? It seems many monks remain deeply motivated. Well, how many of you live with monks? Is there concept of this? Is these concepts are they distinct? Should we always place motivation first? How specifically can we cultivate right motivation? Meow. Cool. Is there a difference between desire and motivation? Like, yes, you can have well, I mean, is there a distinction or difference between that? Look, you can have wholesome desires. Wholesome desires would be, or motivation would be to renounce sort of like, instead of just, I work harder and harder so I can get more and more Rolex watches or beautiful things so people envy me. That's a wrong motivation. So they are wholesome motivations. You work less, and you are more easily satisfied. You don't need to have so many things in the world. But desire, motivation, I'm not sure. Perhaps I would have to think about the Pali words, but motivation really, what the Buddha said really, the path starts with you hear the word of the Buddha, to hear the Dhamma, and from there you gain the motivation, or you have faith. So it starts, it's a gradual path. The whole Buddhist path is a gradual path. And the same with your own practice, whether you're Buddhist or not, whatever you want to take that label or not. It's a gradual path. You start seeing what motivates you, what sort of moves you in this world, and how you want to change your desires or motivations in the world. So that's how you cultivate the right motivation. You just sort of start seeing that, is this bringing me happiness? Are these desires? Is this really bringing me something which I want to have? Is this wholesome? Wisdom, you cultivate wisdom. Where does this lead to? That's another thing. Or Ajahn Brahms, what he does is sometimes he says that you can have this kind of right motivation. It's like if you really, really want something, it's like you look at it, it's like, do I really want it? Is this really leading me into the right direction? Do I want it? Do I really want it? And then you can he also has this kind of like, and then what? Okay, well, I do this, and then what? Well, yeah, but then I do that, and then what? So try to take it to end, like the wisdom, sort of have it with wisdom. I have this, I need to buy the latest phone. Everybody else has it. It's really important I have the latest phone. And then what? Well, then everybody looks at me with I have the best phone like everybody else, and then what? Just try to take things towards the end. But to stay motivated is same for whether it's monks or you as a layperson. It's just a motivation. You need to keep cultivating it. You need to keep coming back to the weekend retreats with different teachers. You need to go to our city center. You need to keep watching the YouTube talks if that's what you have to do. But always remember, meditation alone is not enough. We're not just teaching one, in here it's talked about one path of the Eightfold Path, but you need to take it's a whole path. What are we trying to cultivate? Meditation supports your mindfulness supports your meditation. Both of those things then support your kindness of your heart, your compassion starts growing because you are brave enough to look inside of yourself, and you have a little bit of wisdom to cultivate this kind of instead of being in your head too much, cultivate just calmness and just staying away from too much from your head. But never think it's just one thing and then everything will be fine. It doesn't work that way. Again, another normalcy question. Is it normal to feel like you are confined to the body and feel like you're about to burst? No, it's not normal. Again, it's all of these things, they come. I mean, it's in the beginnings, I wish I had these things. I've been meditating too long. I don't get these things anymore. It's I've long ceased to feel like I'm gonna burst, except if I have too much tofu or something, my tummy wants to feel like bursting. But it's really cool and interesting when you are a new meditator and you have all kind of things in the body appearing, and sometimes you sit there and you just feel like I'm gonna float. It was like, I wonder if I should open my eyes, like maybe somebody's gonna find out I'm levitating here, and it's like all kind of cool things happen. So they're really nice, and enjoy while they're happening. Hopefully the bursting doesn't feel too like painful, that it's the burst of like joy or something. So again, it's like enjoy. It's good. It's normal, absolutely normal. Dear Ajahn, please explain how one develops metta feeling in oneself. It's a quite long question, so I have so many questions here. But lately I've been teaching more and more. You have to remember, all of the Brahma Viharas, these feelings of like higher joy, we have 4 of them. Traditionally been taught was metta, mudita, upekkha, and karuna. And the feeling tone is really the same. There is no difference within whether you feel loving kindness or you feel compassion. There's like even feeling mudita, having seen somebody being happy, and then you feel it yourself. You cannot really distinguish that actually from loving kindness. There's just there's a really fine line between these kind of happinesses. So whatever, it doesn't always have to be loving kindness, and that's why recently I've been trying to teach people, if you don't, because metta is a bit difficult. It's sort of like, well, how do you cultivate metta? Unless you have a newborn baby or something and you really, have that very natural metta arising. But compassion in that sense is sometimes easier to start developing compassion. It's just sort of like, once you start looking inside of yourself, you start saying that there is suffering. If you don't see suffering inside of yourself, you either haven't practiced long enough, or you're not brave enough to look inside of you, or there's something wrong with you. That's not normal. It's not to have suffering inside of you, it's not normal. If there's something is not normal, that's not normal. If you're not suffering, everybody's suffering inside. And you start seeing, this suffering is inside of me, you start seeing, you start developing compassion from that. And honestly, it's the same feeling tone as loving kindness. So just try to bring this kind of softness and kindness inside of you. And from there you start, cultivating, then you can remember, for example, somebody took care of you when you were suffering. What did that kind of compassion felt like? What did it felt like when somebody took care of you? Grandma, a mother, a good friend, your partner. Or if you felt that compassion is like you have a child and they were hurt, you don't want your child to be hurt. It's like, how do you take care of a child of yours? Or even if you think of yourself as a child, even if it's not, you don't have children, but you just, it's like, oh, I'm hurt, and what would it feel like somebody comes to you and take care of you? It's like, oh, I feel for you. I have compassion, and just take care of you. It's like, oh, it feels nice when somebody takes care of you, right? I would like somebody to take care of me. No need to come and hug me, but I would like, it's somebody it's nice to have compassionate friends. So I developed that kind of feeling towards myself, oh, I need compassion like everybody else. And from there, that kind of you start that metta, whether you call it loving kindness or compassion, you can start developing. It's like, I start feeling softer inside. Then you can start thinking about if I've received some kind of loving kindness from somebody, a loved one. And then you just need to sort of cultivate it a little bit in the beginning. That's why I've noticed that's been recently working, and I've trying to teach that I think it's work for others. So again, so you just need to find the way. So understand that there's like, you need to have compassion towards yourself first, loving kindness towards yourself first. I said this again today a couple of times, but I really like the simile. I've learned it actually, I'm borrowing it from Ajahn Mudito, one of our teachers who's now in Melbourne. He said, if you don't have money in the bank, you cannot give. So if you're giving, if you don't have, and you don't have money in the bank account, you're going into debt. The same way, if you don't have compassion towards yourself or loving kindness towards yourself, you cannot give. You're giving the wrong thing. You're not giving out of just kindness. That giving is wrong kind of giving. You give, you're going into debt, deeper and deeper and deeper. You don't feel actually, it's not uplifting. But once you start developing kindness towards yourself, I'm suffering, you see the suffering, you develop kindness, compassion, whether it's metta or purely, but at least you're trying to sort of coming from different angles, and you come towards that. You start having a little bit of money in the bank, and then it starts coming out of you. You see the suffering in you, you see the suffering in others. You start having compassion towards yourself, loving kindness. It starts coming out of you very naturally. It's not like you're doing it. It's sort of like it's not forced. So somebody who's got a lot of loving kindness towards themselves, it sort of comes out of them. I think that's how you develop, one way of developing metta. It works differently for others, but I've noticed that that's the recently I've been teaching that. When a big worries in my life come up during my meditation, it makes me feel agitated. I acknowledge these problems, try to let them go and give them love and kindness. Can you please give some suggestion as what to do when the thoughts of the big problems in our lives come up during the meditation and take over, making it very difficult to relax? Thank you. Again, sometimes I feel sometimes when big things come in that it's almost like you just have to hold on to your seat. Like I'm literally sometimes in my heart, I'm sitting on this cushion, I'm just holding on to my dear life for this cushion. It's just a lot of things to take. But sometimes you just have to do it. I have to hold my ground. I'm not moving. There's nothing I can do. Sometimes you just have to. I'm not distracting myself. Like, no, not today. Half an hour, I'm digging my heels in. Everybody else, they go shopping center. Let's go movies. Let's do something. Let's go to the beach. No, I'm digging my heels in. That's the one way. Sometimes you have to do that. There's nothing else that works. But so and actually sometimes when you do that and you just notice that I can take it and then you allow it to be, it starts to fade away and it's not so bad. Sometimes it is that bad and you have to be with it for a long time. Let me tell you, I'm an expert on this. I'm a monk. Yes, it's very pleasant to be a monk sometimes. But these big problems, again, it depends what kind of problem it is. But honestly, it starts really from yourself. You see that, you're suffering. Yes, everybody else is suffering. Let's say you have somebody who's sick in your family and you really have a lot of, I wish you could do something about it, or you're tired of because helping them. You have to realize that when you look at yourself and then you're tired and then the big problem just keep coming up and up and up again, there's nothing more you can do. What you can do is let go. Try to just be with that feeling. Don't try to solve problems. It's not like we can have enough wisdom, and then all the problems, with like a problem comes, and then I have wisdom and I can solve the problem, and there's no more suffering. It doesn't work that way. The world is too complicated, and the world always gives us new problems in a new, nice form. New problems. Now I'm sick. Now this happened. We need to develop that kind of attitude towards that, and it takes time. It's not like we find the magic bullet, but it helps. And most of the people in the Buddhist societies we noticed who stuck with us over the years, decades, who I know who've been here for a long time, the longest, had a lot of problems. It's not like they came and it was so pleasant and it was just this, they were so inspired and they just stuck with it. No, it's because they realized that they have problems. Then they started to, they stuck, and that made them stuck with the practice. So sometimes the suffering is actually good for us in the long term. You see, you have a lot of gratitude when you come out of these sufferings. But sometimes they take a long time. So we need to sometimes dig our heels in, take a longer perspective, develop kindness towards ourselves, see the compassion. There's many, many different ways. But we just need to keep practicing. There's no other way. Otherwise we go, sometimes I say, we just go, otherwise we go into the grave, distracting ourselves, and we're no wiser than we are now. From the suffering, the compassion grows. From the suffering, the wisdom grows. I'm not sure I answered the question, but never mind. Moving on. Why one gets why do you have the feeling of guilt and how to overcome it? Is this normal? No, it doesn't say that. Okay, guilt. Guilt is one of those things where it's really difficult to let go because you own it. Guilt, a feeling inadequate, feeling less than others. These are the ones where low self-esteem. Ajahn Brahm says you cannot go from low self-esteem to no self-esteem. It doesn't work that way. You need to to go into no self-esteem. It's part of a joke of his that you need to have a positive attitude towards yourself. So guilt is something you need to recognize that it's like I'm holding into it. You think you don't want to hold on to it, but you actually do. It makes you you. You don't want to let go. Same like people, they think they're doing something good because they are grieving for somebody. They don't want to let go of the grieving. They are carrying the pain, and they could just let it go, but they don't dare to do that because then they feel that I should be grieving. I'm this grieving person. This person wants me to be grieving for them. I should feel guilty if I don't grieve enough. So you almost develop these kind of things. But so guilt is same thing. It's you. You feel that you want to have the guilt. Sure. If the guilt comes from a place of you've been really a rotten person, which most of us are not, and so you can sort of try to mask it that I should be fine. I've done nothing wrong. That's fine. I can just feel okay with that. Those kind of things. We need to learn to recognize that's okay, I feel guilty about this. Yeah, okay, you recognized it, and then once you recognize that it's this is the reason I felt guilty, you're not going towards that. You're not going to repeat that. So you don't repeat it so much, so often anymore, or you do it. You don't go so deep into that kind of behavior. But the recognition is the way to let it go. You need to learn what's in that backpack you're carrying this long time now. You take one thing out of it. It's guilt comes up. It's a heavy thing. Then when you recognize it, you can do something about it. It becomes less heavy just by recognizing it. You probably want to put it back there. I still want to carry it. It's, you should be able to just put it away, but you won't be. But as long as you recognize it and you carry it with you still, you put it back there and it's like, I'm guilty. But when you recognize it, it makes it lighter, it makes it less. It's not so painful to carry it anymore. So it really is the starting point. And then you develop kindness towards that, recognize that I don't have to be so guilty. Why? There's nobody coming there and telling you, I should be guilty, you should be guilty, you should be guilty. Nobody's doing that. You are doing it for yourself. So recognize that I don't have to do that. I can once in a while put it down. And then have these kind of moments where it's just the guilt is there, but instead of being in you owning it all the time, I'm guilty, drop it for a while. The way to drop it is just walk on the street, just pay attention to your feet. And you're able to do that for 10 steps, and then you go you come back to sort of thinking mind a little bit, and notice that how nice it was not to feel guilty for 10 steps. And then try to do it again, and then you'll be able to do it again for 10 steps. And it's just just being able to drop it, it just feels so nice. And from there, you start slowly eroding this, owning it. Don't make it into too much of a self. Dear Ajahn, I like your thoughts of letting go. And having to be okay with I don't know in life. Okay, yep. I've had terrible year to a life crisis. Many people have died, and 2 people very close to me don't talk to me due to a life event. I've tried to keep in contact to no avail. So I have to let go and don't know if the situation will ever improve. Some days are much harder than others to cultivate peaceful mind. Thanks. That's it. I mean, and I think again it feels hard, but sometimes we need to have these moments, or life just gives us these moments where we just we've forced into this situation where there's the back is against the wall. There's nothing I can do. The only thing I can do is just sort of be with it. Recognize the situation. Oh, this is the situation. But then one thing you can do in this kind of situations is to think, well, this person died, they were loved dear to me. What do we expect? We're humans. Our loved ones are humans, and they will pass away. Death contemplation, it actually does work. Same for yourself. They died, I will also die. I will also die. And then that sort of makes it less of well, they pass, but I will also pass away. So it makes it less of this kind of a big thing. You feel so sad about it, and it's this, they left, but I'm left behind and all that. But you are not. You follow them. After a few years, we all follow after them. But the people don't talk to you because of the event. Well, the same thing. They will die, I will die. Is it really such an important thing? And you also have to recognize that, that thing I was trying to say about the quote, there's no good and evil people in the world. It's not like they don't suffer. Once we start seeing the suffering inside of ourselves, we recognize they're just like you. They're no different. You cannot separately think that it was oh, they're good people, they're reasonable. These people are rational, I'm not. rational. They're not. They're not. They have the same. They don't know. They're just guesstimating through life, like you are. It's interesting. Like the thing is, like we think, what they think. What are they thinking? Not very rational thoughts. Because if you know your own mind, you look at this like, it's not very rational what I'm thinking. Hang on, they're just like me. Why am I so worried about it? They don't talk to me. It's not like they're somehow rationing in their minds like, oh, we're not talking to you, or our friend anymore. It's like they cultivating these thoughts, and then it's like they have this kind of like clear idea of not talking to you. You don't think that way. They don't think that way. Don't make it such a big deal. There's just sort of like they got miffed about something, and then life took over, and then they feel guilty about not talking to you, and then other thing happened, and then life took over. Now they feel guilty about not being able to talk to you. I mean, that's how it works. That's how your life works, right? They're the same. They're no different from you. And that's why the nice thing about this practice is that when we start seeing into our own minds how irrational we are, how illogical our thinking is, we realize like the world around is like that. Everybody's like that. Perhaps it's just me, but you might be the logical people and I'm the only one. But that's what I've noticed. I always thought I was normal until I became a monk. And then it's like, oh, that's in my mind. Right. Ooh, great. I live in this shadow puppet world. Like my thinking, it's just this kind of dreams and memories, and everybody's just kind of this weird hazy thing, and it's like I just guesstimate, like I wonder what they're thinking of me, and then I look at them and I was like, oh, like I was like, oh yeah, they must be thinking this way, and then you talk to them and they just, what? Oh, they weren't thinking of me, they were thinking of themselves. Right. Okay. So be more logical. They're not in charge either. There's another cat here. Oh no, we cannot have too many cat questions. Okay, I'll leave this cat. You already had one cat question. Many thanks, Ajahn, for your loving energy, wow, and guidance. Could you perhaps give tips to walking meditation? Sure. Walking meditation is it's good as sitting meditation. Perhaps you cannot go as deep in the walking meditation as you can with sitting meditation. We have 4 postures. None of them are worse or better than others. Whatever calms your mind. So we have sitting, walking, standing, or lying down. All of those are good postures. It's like whatever calms your mind. You need to, again, you learn to sort of like cultivate, to learn your mind, like, what do I need now? Instead of sitting here, I go for morning walk tomorrow morning around the Jhana Grove and enjoy the nature, paying attention just in front of you. And that's one of the things actually in walking meditation. Instead of looking around, even if you go walk around the Jhana Grove, pay attention, half a meter in front of you, and then try to just like, when you don't look here and there, but just pay attention in front of you. This becomes like a habit when you're just sort of like, I'm walking meditation. That's your intention, so to speak. And then you're just paying attention in front of you. And then that, when you limit yourself, your world sort of becomes a little bit less. You still enjoy that walk in nature, but you are just sort of paying attention to less things. And that's why it's the same thing, like while we're sitting down, we close our eyes, and then we find a comfortable posture, then the world doesn't sort of pull us out so much. At least we're limiting ourselves a little bit. So with the walking meditation, it is actually, if you really want to go a bit deeper, instead of walking in nature, this kind of walking back and forth is recommended because it becomes more monotonous. You have even less things to pay attention. But don't force it too much either. Sometimes I just walk back and forth, just thinking, and naturally you start slowing down. Don't force yourself too much into that super slow walking, because it becomes, you're doing it too aggressively. One thing which is interesting, I heard from this Thai monk. I went to see him in Thailand. He's quite famous for developing a lot of loving kindness. He's been a monk now over probably close to 50 years now, and then his only practice has been the last 50 years is loving kindness, not much more than just loving kindness. So you can imagine that if you've been cultivating loving kindness for 50 years, you get pretty good at it. So he's very, very kind monk. And he said every time he goes to Bindabat, because he goes to alms rounding every morning, he said he starts paying attention to his feet. And he says, in his mind, he said it almost feels like he's counting his footsteps. And he said he gets up to about 1,000 footsteps, and then he said it just feels like he's just floating along the alms round, the Bindabat route he lives in the suburbs in Bangkok. And he said he just floats along, and then he just floats back to the monastery. It feels like he's walking on clouds. So really, walking meditation, it can feel like that, like the body's just walking. You're not doing the walking. And it's an interesting thing, like the body knows what it's doing. You're aware, your eyes are open, and you're just walking back and forth. But the body does the walking. You're not really doing it anymore. It's not this forced, slow walking, what you often see, that you just really pay attention, but it's a very natural. You almost step back a little bit from yourself, and the walking happens. So walking meditation can take you into that really calm space, and it's very natural. But most of the time, just walk naturally, pay attention, just few feet ahead of you, and then just don't do too much, don't force it, and then you start slowing down. And if nothing else, that you just did that walking, it sort of prepares your mind into that, into the sitting meditation. It's like you walk, and then you just ask yourself, would I like to sit now? And if you're just like, no, I want to walk, keep walking. Ask yourself again after a while, should I sit down? And then the mind is like, yeah, okay, let's sit down. And then it's like, okay, move back to the hole and sit down. It did the purpose, what it was supposed to do. Other tips I don't know if there's tips for walking meditation. I mean, if you really want to, I find the best is like Ajahn Brahm has this kind of thing where he says that you can pay attention to the lifting of the foot, and when the foot, the leg is moving, he pays attention to that. It comes down, and the next one, starts moving up, and it's obviously he's got a very clear mind, and it does happen that way as well. But I think it's a bit too forced if you try to do it too much. It's too much thinking. For him, it's quite natural that it's more like noting, where he notes. It's just he sees it very, very spacious mind. That is, he sees how the body is doing the walking. He's not really doing it, but you could try to do that if you want to do something a little bit more active, that you just see how you're walking. You actually haven't paid attention to your walking for a long time. You always just walked very unmindfully. So if you want to put mindfulness into that, you see how you actually walk. So you're looking at sort of differently. Another tip, you walk backwards. makes difference. You do something differently, and then all of a sudden you're just sort of like, oh, this is how you do walking. So you can do backwards walking meditation. Dear Ajahn, what is loneliness and how to overcome it in Buddhist way? Well, what is loneliness and how to overcome it? Well, if you don't know what it is, well, I don't know how you can overcome it. But loneliness is a feeling which is quite rotten. You feel, how do you describe it in Buddhist terms? I don't know. It's a feeling of you separated from the world, like nobody understands you. You are I think the interesting thing is, like in the Buddhist term, how to overcome loneliness is that really to cultivate this kind of feeling of you're not anything worse, you're not anything better, you're not anything different from anybody else. We're all the same. Once you start getting into this level of less, like the sense of self is not as strong. You feel the loneliness cannot creep in there. If you have because that feeling of loneliness, it's again, it's like you somehow feel separated from the world. And it actually, you owning that feeling, you think it's you and them, us and them, you and the rest of the world. But when the sense of self starts to become less, you cannot have this kind of feelings. It's just the interesting thing is that once you practice longer and you have the sense of self has disappeared even a little bit, the sense of loneliness disappears. It just cannot be in that same equation. It just doesn't work together. Like a sense of self is disappearing, loneliness has to disappear with it. Loneliness cannot exist if you don't have a strong sense of self. So even it's like you think like, I'm lonely and lonely and lonely, it's because you have a strong sense of self. It doesn't sound logical, but it is really how it is. So try to see it as something like you're making it into self. You have a strong sense of self. You don't think we think a strong sense of self is like somehow better than everybody else, or it's like those kind of strong sense of self, you're callous person. But those are even places where you really strongly associate with. I'm a lonely person. Loneliness is always there. We don't push it away. We recognize that, and we know it's like, okay, that's suffering. So now I can do something about it. Loneliness is there always with me. So you can it's difficult to have compassion for it and all that, and then it's like, and even, sometimes it's like, well, I really want to have a companionship because I'm lonely. But it doesn't really solve the problem because you are always there. You can still be lonely with your partner, you can be lonely in a group if you have a strong sense of self. So we need to keep working. There's not many questions left, so don't worry about it. So keep working on that sense of self, I would say. Buddhist answer. While meditating, if there is a disturbance, which is unavoidable around us, how to keep on meditating? Be aware or pay attention to it. Wait till it's over, or try to ignore it. I'm sure there's disturbances and all that, and people around you shuffle and they open a bottle and chew some lollies, and If you have calm mind and doesn't disturb you so much, if you're in this happy zone, it's like to recognize that thing ended. Ajahn Brahm always have that thing, is like, okay, somebody coughed, and you think about it, like, why are they coughing? It's like, come on, like, it's disturbing me. Again, I heard it again. I was like, why don't they just go outside? And you just keep thinking about it. The thinking part is the problem. That coughing ended, or opening taking the paper out of the lolly. I love people sometimes, they really quietly try to just like, just get it over and done with. Just open the lolly, put it in your mouth, put the wrapping away. Don't try to do it so, or sippers are always like this, kind of like they're just open the zipper, take the jacket off, get it over and done with. But so you recognize in those moments, like the more agitated you are, the more anger and ill will you have in your mind. If you are in happy mode, it doesn't disturb you so much. So it's almost like an indication. It's like, where's your dial? So it's red hot 10, and they're doing the zipper again, and just like fuming and fuming and fuming. It's like, well, it should indicate how your mind is. Your mind is not calm. It's like you have a lot of loving kindness. Well, yeah, they're really trying to be quiet. Oh, fine, that's okay. It's like, that's how it is. So it tells you something about your mind. So again, it's like, where's your dial? Is it red hot, or is it just sort of like nice and green, almost 0, 1? It's not boiling, nice and soft, warm. So it's just learn from it. And learn as a meditator. Just get things over and done with. Open the wrappers, zippers. Velcro is another favorite of mine. Just rip it open. But yeah, coughing and all those things, we cannot help it. But sometimes we need to cough and all those. But you really, it's just like Ajahn Brahm's wisdom is that it already is passed for a long time. They were opening the wrapper for half an hour ago, and you're still thinking about it. Well, get over and done with in your own mind. It's like, look at your own mind. You don't keep repeating it too much. See it as a problem. How to develop a kindness towards a person who is hurting my mind still. Again, I mean, it really starts from your own mind. It's difficult to see that you are having kindness towards others when you're having kindness towards yourself. It starts from yourself. It has to start from yourself. It's not. You cannot just be kind towards others and not towards yourself. It has to start from yourself. I'm not sure if it makes the simile make sense, but there is no good and evil people in the world. We cannot just take, like, those are evil people, remove them from the world. World is fine again. We removed all the evil people. Great. No, the line of good and evil runs in every human heart. And who wants to cut into their own heart? Nobody. You have an evil tendencies, they have evil tendencies, they hurt you, you hurt others. We need to learn to live with it. We just have to. World gives us these things. And when you start developing the kindness, you see the hurt inside of yourself, and you're like, yes, I've hurt others as well. I need to be compassionate. I didn't know what that was doing. They don't know why, they hurt me. They weren't intentionally. There is no intentions, really strong intentions, most of the time in anybody's heart. They're just acting from the conditioning. Hopefully that helps. I don't know. If not, then you think like this bastard will die, and then they just have to live with that. They have to, experience the karma, what they've done. They cannot escape it. And it's honestly, it's a little bit, not just a little bit, there's truth to that. These are anecdotal evidence when you read things like near-death experiences, and people go through what they've experienced in life. They say that and these are interesting stories, that they say that they review all their actions in life and what they've done when they were alive. So they experience like, I've hurt this person. But they don't just like intellectually understand or feel like what, when you understand that I hurt them. They feel it. They said, these people have, in these stories, they say that they feel it how the other person felt it. And that's how it's like a simile quite nicely works with that idea of karma, that your karma has to clarify itself. It almost, when you die, that you need to go through that karma. So when they hurt you, this person will actually feel how you felt. They cannot escape it. So they will have to experience that. So don't think they get away with it either. It doesn't work that way. So, yeah, they will get it. Don't worry, just wait. Dear Ajahn, what is life? What is life? Life is suffering, what the Buddha was teaching. Okay, Buddhism is nice and positive. Religion, life is suffering. What else is life? No, life is really, if you talk about the meaning of life, it's a very common question and all that. And the meaning is wherever you put attention to, or wherever you are, that becomes the meaning of life. There's no, and the meaning of life, the life itself. The only way you find the answer is inside of yourself. It's not. You cannot study the world, and you keep studying and studying, and somehow you understand how everything ends and what is the life all about. The answer lies within your own mind and your own body. The answer is inside of yourself. It's not like you go to the end of the world, you study all the books, and it's like you somehow find the meaning for yourself. It's not there. You can't find it. The end is inside of your own mind. That's what the Buddha said. So, is that life? Well, partly. I feel like I'm being unkind to myself when I do not pay attention to my negative thoughts and feelings. Like a parent who does not pay attention to their child's screams, how can I let go of these feelings and thoughts while being kind to myself? Thank you. Well, what about paying attention to the positive thoughts? People always, we talk about karma in Sanskrit. People always, it's like you say karma, it's like, they always think of bad things. Most of the times we don't do bad things. Most of the things we do are good things. Why don't we pay attention to good karma, good actions we've done? Most of the things we do are mostly on positive side, isn't it? We're mostly good. We just don't pay enough attention to that. We need to change our perception. So I'm being unkind to myself when I do not pay attention to my negative thoughts. No, you're not being unkind. You are actually, don't pay so much attention to the negative thoughts. Don't make it into self. Again, we had today, in the discussions, I said there was this one monk, Thai monk, who said that when you need to cry, let's say in a meditation retreat, just cry and get over and done with. Don't hold on to that idea, I cried and that makes you more sad, and it's like you make it into an idea of self. With the negative thoughts, don't think that they are you any more than the positive thoughts. But the brave thing courageous thing to do. It's like, if you want to be a lion heart, it's to pay attention to positive things. Be courageous. Pay attention to the good things. Nobody's stopping you. Nobody's telling you, pay attention to the negative things. You prefer to pay attention to those. Only from good sense of self, you allow the sense that self can disappear. If you have a low self-esteem, it doesn't want to disappear. You really strongly associate with that. From developing this kind of kindness and letting go, compassion, that will start, that you can let go. You just don't realize, but you are holding very strongly to the negative thoughts. So, yes, you can let go of those feelings. Absolutely. You should. Be brave. Yes, we can do this. Since a dead relative is reborn, when we give blessing, who are we giving it to? The person who was with us or the one reborn? Okay, so the blessings or sharing merits, we would say quite often, sharing merits. Who are we sharing merits with? Well, if the conditions are right, the relative can receive the merit. And it seems to be very, very near that they have to be associated, still be sort of close to the human realm. So if they're born in the Devaloka, they're too far. If they're born as a human, they're too far. I mean, if they're sort of heavenly beings, too far, they cannot receive your merits. If they're reborn as humans, they've gone too far. If they're born in animals, they cannot receive it. If they're in the really low realms, they cannot receive it. But if it seems to be that if they're going through this rebirth process, they haven't gone too far yet, or they almost like a ghost realm, which is, again, they are very close to this realm, that they can receive the merits, what we share with them. So they're not really, if it's a ghost, we don't call it a rebirth per se, they appear as a ghost. They just haven't gone too far from our realm. We wouldn't call it really a rebirth. So it is this person, but the person is that person who they were in the sort of before they died. It's not like they're somehow different. There's not like a person alive like you, and then all of a sudden they are something else. Even though there is nobody, in Buddhism we don't believe that there's self, there is no soul, and then all of it, and then when the person dies, then everything just disintegrates and turns into something mush. No, it's just that person continues. It's just how it is. You are you. You were you a minute ago, 1 hour ago. This morning, you will be you in 1 minute later. Tonight, when you're brushing your teeth, you'll be you. Tomorrow morning, when you wake up, you don't brush somebody else's teeth. You're brushing your own teeth. It's you. It's not like you die and then you turn into something else. The stream of consciousness, if we call it so, that I'm sort of taking shortcuts here, but just trust me, it's more or less this is how it works. That person, if they receive your merits, they haven't gone too far from this human realm. They haven't really, the rebirth process either hasn't really started, or they are almost like a ghost-like realm, ghost-like being. And talking of ghost, I can tell a ghost story. And interesting, I didn't think I would have a ghost stories, but now I have. And it's told by my mom just recently. During this rains retreat, I had 3 relatives died. Interesting enough, and I have a big family, so there's people can die. I have about 36 cousins, and I have how many aunties, uncles? I have like 13 aunties and uncles. So there's always somebody, even sort of in that close family, can die. So this rains retreat, which ended a few weeks ago, I had one auntie died, and one uncle and one auntie's husband died. And they were all quite close to me, especially this uncle who died. I lived with him for a while, and he took care of me, and he was quite a bit older than me, but not so much that we couldn't just sort of relate to each other. We were good friends, so to speak. And he passed away during this rains retreat as well. I went to see him last summer when I was in Finland, and I was leaving, and I said, look, I know you're getting close to dying, because we have this lung disease in our family, and he passed away from that. And I said, look, I know you'll be probably passing away soon, but I will be in Australia. I cannot come to your funeral. And I left, and that was it. And he did pass away just recently. And then Mom, I knew something happened to Nivasa. I wonder what happened. So I went to, I'm not usually communicating too much with my family, and then, but I did check my emails, and they said, okay, your uncle has died, my mom's brother. And it's like, okay, well, they asked if I'm coming to the funeral. I said, no, I cannot. So I did write a little piece, nice letter to them, and they did the funeral, this and that. And Mom then asked me, he's like, okay, you believe on all these things, rebirth and ghost and this, and it's like, you need to tell us if your uncle comes to you. Just please tell us. And it's a bit weird, because it's like all of a sudden I'm this kind of spiritual guy in our family. We're not spiritual. But somehow we gone from this kind of being regular family into yes, Mudito is now this monk who's he knows all about these things, and he trusts, he has faith. So it was they can talk to me about it. It's so if he comes, he was like, you need to tell us. Same, I called my auntie. And she's like, oh, have you seen him? Has he appeared to you? So, no, it's nah, nothing so far. So it's I kept my eyes open, so to speak. And I was open for my uncle to, show up to me. And then just the Vasa ended, no sign of uncle. Other auntie's husband died, and even she asked me. It's like, oh, anything? It's from the husband. She was really distraught. It was quite a sudden death, and I said, no, I haven't seen the husband either. But anyway, so Vasa ended, nothing. We actually did those things. We chanted for my uncle in the monastery. I did quite a few days. I did actually 7 days. Every day I dedicated merits. I chanted loving kindness. I did the funeral suttas even in my kuti, in my hut, to my uncle. And then the Vasa ended, I was in Indonesia just before I left, because I need to call my mom quite often, because she needs emotional support, being a care for my dad. So I tried to call Mom quite often. So I said, okay, I'm going to Indonesia. I won't be able to call you for a couple of weeks. I'll go to Indonesia, I don't talk to Mom, Singapore, come back. Then on the same day I came back, I called Mom and I said, what's happening? Anything new? It was no. We kept talking about the weather, as we always do. What's the weather like? Weather is important in Finland. In WA, you don't talk about weather. We always have blue skies and 32 degrees whole summer, nothing to talk about. And we just talked, and then Mom said, oh, you want to talk to Dad? I said, yeah, just give it to Dad. And she was like, oh, by the way, I want to tell you something. I said, oh, yeah, okay. So I saw your uncle. I said, really? Yeah. I said, oh, what happened? She said, oh, just a couple of days ago. She said, I put your dad on the sofa. He sleeps most days now. So I just okay, I need to go for a walk. She likes walking. So she went for she wanted to go outside, and there's we have a family friend of ours, and they have a holiday home not too far, let's say 4 kilometers away from our home. So she said, I go there and I just check that the holiday home is okay. So it's just to be kind, because it's winter time there, and it's like nobody's there on going to holiday. So she wanted to take a bit longer walk and go there, just check, make sure that friend's holiday home is in good order. So she was walking there, and we live really remote. It's just farms and fields. So she was walking on that road. And then she said she was walking, and she's had to stop. She's a bit of short of breath herself, and she had to stop in this one post box, and she was resting there. And then she just said, I just looked back, and I saw my brother, my uncle, and he was right there, and it was literally midday. Like they had lunch. She put Dad to bed for after lunch and went for a walk, and it was midday. And she said, he was just walking towards me. And then she said, well, I just thought I'd just continue walking slowly and he will catch up with me. So she walked to the next post box, which is a few hundred meters down the road. And then she looked back, and she said, he wasn't there anymore. So she just continued walking, went to our friend's holiday home, and then just sat down there for a little while, just relaxed on the patio and walked back home. Didn't think anything of it. Next morning she woke up, she was like, what did I see yesterday? She said it was like she just felt completely calm, like nothing special. Her brother was there. Just about 50 meters down the road, he was there. But my mom was completely just sort of like calm with it. It's just normal. She didn't think anything of it. She just continued walking and walked slowly. It's like he will catch up with me. And then she looked back and he was gone. And another weird thing is that he had taken my dad's jacket. So we have it was an imaginary jacket because the ghost don't need a jacket. It was a cold day. It was a couple of weeks ago, and it's getting close to the winter, and it was windy and sort of a bit rainy. So Mom said it was like when she was leaving from home, she said, it's a bit windy and rainy, so I better put on clothes. So I'm thinking my uncle had followed Mom from our home, and my dad's jackets are there in what we call a boiler room or a plant room, where it's like we always put them there because it's warm, so they dried out. So maybe uncle was, followed Mom from home, and he saw the weather is bad as well. So he just took my dad's jacket. It was a high-vis because my dad works in construction. He worked in construction, so he had these winter jackets, high-vis. So he had taken one of my dad's jackets, high-vis jackets, and put that on and started to follow after Mom. So there he was in the midday. So ghosts don't just come to you at nighttime. And ghosts are not scary. My mom said she was just, didn't think anything of it. He was clearly there, midday. And then I asked, when he went back, did you see footsteps? And she said, no, there was no footsteps. But it was clear as day, it was daytime, and she felt completely at ease with it. So it's a weird. Now I have a ghost story to tell. It's like I never had a ghost story, but here you go. I just heard it when I came back on Monday from Singapore. Mom told me a ghost story. My uncle just appeared. So I told Ajahn Brahm about it, and he said, yeah, these are very common things that what happens. Ghosts come, you feel at ease with it. That doesn't feel weird. You're not afraid of it. It just feels very natural. It's not scary. These are very common things. And quite often it's another thing, which is like when you see a ghost, it almost feels like so normal that you don't think too much of it. And saying that thing actually happened to my mom. She just said he appeared, and she just started to walk slower, that he will catch up. And then he had gone when she looked back. And the next day only she was just sort of, what did I see? She was just sort of like that. Then she was a bit sort of not frightened, but just sort of, thought of it a bit more about it. But the interesting thing, I just called her just before this retreat started. I went there on Friday and I called Mom. I was like, okay. Like, oh yeah, it was like we talked a little bit more of that. And then I said, the jacket he was wearing is still in the boiler room. Maybe you should go and check the pockets. But then that happened on Friday, and now today is what, Saturday? So now I need to call back to her. It's like she didn't dare to go back and check the pockets. She said, I'm scared now. So like, I don't know, it's like the story doesn't end here, but I don't have anything else to report yet. So I will later on report somewhere. You need to find out where I'm teaching. Did she find something in the pocket? Maybe there's something interesting. I just thought it was like, better just maybe that's why he was wearing the jacket. Maybe there's something in the pocket now. Let's see if the mom, dares to go and find it out. But the interesting thing, I did ask Ajahn, like, what happens? Why does the ghost appear? And Ajahn said that they do want to appear. They want you to see them, and that's why the ghosts appear. Why am I talking about this? Dead relatives, yes. So Wednesday came, and I said, I told Ajahn, Wednesday, actually the Wednesday talk was on Thursday. I said, well, let's put my uncle again on the chanting list. We always have chanting on Wednesday talks in Jhana, because I said, okay, he's a ghost. He can receive the merit. So ghosts are so close to us, they can receive the merit if we chant for them. So the question was, going back, so is he reborn? It's not really, we don't consider that like a rebirth yet. It's sort of like he just hasn't moved too far from here. Ghosts, yeah, they're good. Perhaps some ghosts could, I don't know, it's a bit difficult, but it seems to be that they can receive our merits. That's my ghost story, and they can receive our merits. Yes, thank you. All right, that's enough for tonight. Have a good night. Please meditate if you wish, and sleep well. Sadhu, sadhu.